Before entering the interlanguage issue, we would like to analyze this first slide just to get a general idea of the subject. In the first picture, we see that the man's first language is Russian and the target language is English. So he has to go through something called interlanguage, which means that interlanguage is the connection between the two languages, just as it is shown in the bottom right picture. In the cartoon, the lady is obviously not a native English speaker. You see the man is asking, "Are you the new English teacher?" And the answer is, "Yes, I are." Just as it occurs in the bottom left picture, sorry for my English, this kind of mistakes may occur because that is how the expression goes in the mother tongue.
About the psycholinguistics process proposed by Slinker, first of all, we want to show the relation that exists between the L1 and the L2. All to the process of acquisition of the L1 is natural. It influences the SLA process. This is called linguistic transfer. Occurs when elements from the first language are present in the second language. Instruction transfer occurs when elements in the IL are a result of training. When cognitive processes are carried out in order to learn a L2, then learning strategies are being used, whereas some learns to two elements in their vocabulary. For example, when their linguistic competence is limited as a communication strategy. Overgeneralization occurs when a rule from L2 is used in the wrong context.
This is the first example that we are going to analyze. These examples are from fourth grade students in a bilingual private school in the city of Bogota. In this task, the student was supposed to summarize her understanding from a video that she watched, The Power of Words. We can identify the three types of errors. In the first one, highlighted in red, we have recipient. What she meant to say was a container or a bowl. That is an example of what we understand as false cognates. She was trying to refer to the bowl or the container containing this rice. Highlighted in green, we have an example of intralingual errors. Usually the overgeneralization of grammatic rules. The person talk to a recipient, in this case to the container, that have the word love. This girl was supposed to mention the person talked to, actually, because it's referring to the past, to the container that had the word love. And lastly, in blue, we highlighted an example for developmental errors, referring to a strategy employed by the student to acquire the language. In this specific example, communication strategy. She meant to say that the other one didn't have it, and she said the other have no. This second example for our error analysis is from another fourth grade student at the same school. He was supposed to compare and contrast two things, and he decided to do this example with fruits, the watermelon and the cantaloupe. We identified intralingual and developmental errors mainly, which are highlighted in green and blue respectively. Our last example from a fourth grade student in the same school. He had to describe a field trip we had recently. We classify this as developmental error, but mainly to highlight his strategies as a learner to employ and make use of the target language. He has shown great improvement in the language, and this final task shows how successfully he's been using the language to put his ideas together.